The Tour de France is close to reaching its conclusion, but you can watch the rest of what the race has to offer, plus the rest of the season on GCN+. Bahrain had been victorious the day before. Stage 20 would begin with Giulio Ciccone hoping to keep his mountains classification jersey. Felix Gall close to mounting a challenge to take it off him. The long goodbye for Thibaut Pinot was almost at an end. He will be on home roads in the Vosges in the east of Spain. A final mountain stage to get through for Jonas Vingegaard, who was about to win the Tour de France. Over 7 minutes in the GC meant a big turnaround. An unlikely one was required, but there was a stage win up for grabs, and every place in the top 10, barring maybe the top 2, were up for grabs as well. 133.5 kilometres, up and down all day, plenty of climbing with 6 classified ascents. Le Markstein was the destination after a start in Belfort. Le Petit Ballon, a really important climb with a grande descente to come afterwards. Onto the Col du Platzerwasel, and then an interesting finale, slightly up and down in the final few kilometres, with challenges to fight for the stage win over the top. After this stage, only the Paris procession would remain. The race would begin climbing the Ballon d'Alsace, the first ever classified climb in Tour de France history. Things have changed since 1905. One part of bike racing remains though. Carlos Rodriguez with a horrible crash. Sepp Kuss crashing with him, both needing attention from the doctor's cart. Both would continue in the race though, as the fight for the breakaway would rage on. Giulio Ciccone had already taken maximum points on the first climb, and he'd be helped up the hill by his teammate Matthias Schelmoser as he tried to secure the competition mathematically. Thibaut Pinot though was about to write another incredible story in his career. Eventually he was part of a break of 10 riders, established properly with 63 kilometres to go, but the peloton behind didn't want to let them go. Onto the Col de la Schlucht, and then Giulio Ciccone could celebrate. As long as he stayed on his bike until the Champs-Élysées, the Italian would be the first man from his nation to win the Tour de France King of the Mountains since 1992. Into the final 31 kilometres, penultimate climb of the day, and Thibaut Pinot took off. A wall of noise around him, his supporters everywhere. Pinot giving his supporters one last taste of the 2023 vintage. Pidcock would follow, Barguil was there, Chris Harper remaining, and still Jumbo-Visma and UAE Emirates chasing down. 1 minute 20 going into the final climb. There was one man who would already be behind on the final climb though, a nasty crash for David Gaudu. He'd still be in the top 10, but he would struggle on to the finish, losing time. Time needed to be taken back by Pogačar when he attacked. 45 seconds was the difference. Vingegaard, the only one, could follow him. And then Felix Gall started to tow them up the hill. Pinot by this point had been re-caught. Pidcock there, Barguil with him. And the sensational 6 was soon at the front. But that, predictably, would then split up as well. And the strongest riders in the Tour de France, leaving Thibaut Pinot behind for one last goodbye. Simon Yates made a move from further back. Carlos Rodriguez struggled to follow. Yates moving up to 4th in the GC with this move. Brother Adam already 3rd, sitting on his wheel. Over the final climb of the Tour de France. 3 at the front, and the Yates brothers about to join them. Gall, Vingegaard, Pogačar, and it soon became the famous 5. 5 kilometres remained as well, and Adam Yates decided to set things up for Tadej Pogačar. Into the last kilometre, and Yates was looking more like Michael Merkel. A top lead out from the climber who was about to finish 3rd in the Tour de France. The man looking to finish first, Jonas Vingegaard, tried to jump Pogačar, but the Slovenian was there. The Slovenian was back. pure passion, plenty of pride, and a pog-back performance. Tadej Pogačar winning his second stage of the Tour de France and taking something out of the race after having been denied the yellow jersey by Jonas Vingegaard. Pinot would come across with Bilbao, who'd been fighting to move up in the GC. Warren Barguil putting in a good performance. And Carlos Rodriguez in the top 5 of the Tour de France after a solid fight. Delight for UAE Emirates after a disappointing few days. Tadej Pogačar back to winning ways, all smiles again. He would take the stage, but overall the Vosges meant Vingegaard, barring incident or accident, will be 24 hours away from winning a second successive Tour de France. The stage to Pogačar ahead of Gal, Vingegaard, Yates and brother Adam, Barguil, Pinot, Bilbao, Johannesson and Maika in the top 10. Another yellow celebration for Denmark. The same for Jumbo-Visma. And Jonas Vingegaard in the lead of the Tour de France. 24 hours from safety, from home, from the Champs-Élysées, with a nice 7-minute, 29-second gap. Adam Yates in third, looking good for the podium. Simon in fourth. Carlos Rodriguez hanging on to that top 5. Sepp Kuss had crashed early in the day and dropped out the top 10. And Giulio Ciccone celebrated on crossing the line. An Italian king of the mountains for the first time since Capucci in 1992. He won that competition from Felix Gall, with Jonas Vingegaard finishing in third place. A polka dot party then for Lidl Trek. And a big moment for Thibaut Pinot. What a performance. Sensational, on feeling, swashbuckling as always. And he will wear the most combative number as he goes to the Champs-Élysées for a final ever Tour de France stage. The stage, 115 kilometers long, will start in Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines and head to Paris and the Champs-Élysées. Into Paris through Issy-les-Moulineaux and 9 laps. The Tour de France is almost done. One final stage to watch, and you can see it as always, live and on demand on GCN+, the home of cycling.